Hey guys, Zach Storch here. Last Tuesday, I saw the Warcraft movie at the IMAX at Minnesota Zoo, and today, I'm bringing you my review of the film. The advanced screening was a blast. I had a lot of fun hosting the pre-screening trivia, met a lot of great people at my table, and most importantly, saw the film in a room full of die-hard Warcraft fans. And that's actually the first thing that I want to talk about. This movie, at its core, was made for fans. But that's not to say that it's a movie that's only for fans to enjoy. My friend who I brought with knew nothing about the Warcraft universe but loved the movie. What I mean is that the story and the world of Warcraft was very well preserved for this film. They didn't really Hollywoodify it, they kept it as is, and that's one of the things that I think has managed to make some critics dislike the film. If you're familiar with the fantasy genre, you'll follow the movie completely fine. I'm planning another video that's going to delve deeper into the actual lore of the film, but suffice to say, they kept almost every facet of the story in there. So if you're not perfectly familiar with the World of Warcraft universe, there can be times during the film that it feels like there's simultaneously too much exposition and too little. But I know that I would much rather have a movie that considered the fan base and the source material at every turn when producing it than one that completely disregarded where it came from. And again, we're not talking like Avatar, The Last Airbender level of exposition or anything. This is just a lot of world building. So for me, as a Warcraft fan, the plot gets an absolute 10 out of 10 for me. It's absolutely everything I could have wanted in this movie. If you're not as much of a Warcraft fan, it's probably more of a 7 out of 10 or something. And I say that 7 out of 10 mostly because my non-Warcraft friend who I saw it with, whose main reaction was just, wow, this is like the first time there's been a good video game movie. And speaking of video game, the video game nature really also carried over to the acting and the cinematography in the film. But I say that as a good thing, and an example of how fans and the Warcraft community were being constantly considered while making this movie. Durotan is totally spot on. The orcs as a whole are fantastic. Yeah, they're CGI, they just look like orcs. And while I'm for the Horde, I also appreciate that the dwarves and elves made it into the film, and that all the human characters were really acted in a good way that felt like themselves from lore. They even managed to slip in a brief little Draenei cameo, which I thought was pretty cool. Overall, I thought the acting was exactly what it needed to be to make this movie Warcraft. There's no Patrick Stewart level acting or anything in it, but it doesn't really need that. Back on cinematography, some of the sweeping views looking over the battlefields really harkened back to the RTS era. The geography of the world of Azeroth was captured in a way that made it feel like you're just flying over the map on the back of your favorite flying mount. And as another tribute to the fans, the special effects were great, especially for magic, where they directly captured the feel and spell effects from the games. And whenever an orc just smashes an alliance soldier with his weapon, you totally feel it. It's powerful. If I can find any fault with the special effects, is that I saw the movie in 3D, and while it was used occasionally for various layering effects, I feel like the film wasn't really optimized for 3D. But most importantly, because I know this has been a concern for a lot of people seeing the trailers, I do not feel like the CGI in any way detracted from the film. The CGI technology used was really impressive, and it just looked as real as orcs can look. So don't let that scare you off from what I think I can say is perhaps the best video game movie that has been made to date. All in all, I think that it's a great movie and that you should definitely check it out, whether or not you're a fan of World of Warcraft or the Warcraft games. The big reason that there's been some more critical reviews of the film is just because there's so much in it. But to me, being faithful to your source material is one of the most important things that you can be when you're dealing with an adaptation for something that's so important to so many people like Warcraft. And I hope that this isn't the only Warcraft movie that we're going to get. I really want to see Illidan, I want to see the Lich King, I even want to see newer lore like Deathwing's Cataclysm. And if you've followed me for any length of time or seen me on King of the Nerds, I know that you know that I would really want to see a Forsaken movie. But in the meantime, I definitely recommend checking out the Warcraft movie. I think that it's a blast and that you'll really enjoy it. Don't forget to be awesome, battle on, and for the Forsaken!